Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the council meeting held on Wednesday, the 20th of August. Councillors, staff, welcome you, the media, all those at home who are listening in, and we don't have anyone from the public gallery today. We're going to have a presentation from NZTA very shortly on the bridge and the update bridge, and more importantly a road, no doubt too, because that's our portion, but bridges governments. And also we've got a visitor coming in for our Tuia rep. Tayla is going to join us and give us a wee update on what she's been up to when she goes away for her wānangas. So apologies, everyone's here. Extraordinary business, I know of none. None, thank you. Declarations of interest in today's items. No. Confirmation of the minutes on the council meeting August the 6th on page 3. We're looking for accuracy. On page 4, page 5 and page 6. Someone like to move that was they be taken as read and confirmed. Councillor McMillan, Councillor Hooper. Put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Carried, thank you. Next item is the Audit and Risk Committee. And we're going to receive those minutes. Someone like to move and second that we receive those minutes? Councillor Cameron, Councillor Ellis. All those in favour, please say aye. Carried. There's one item in there which is a recommendation to council. Someone like to. It's not on the run sheet. We need to. This recommendation to council, the Ben Corp Treasury Report. Yeah. So I need a move and a second that we receive that. Councillor Cameron, Councillor Lovett.
And we're receiving them both, are we?
We've received the minutes.
Yep.
There's a recommendation in there. That's just in the recommendation. Item 6, the Ben Corp Treasury Report. Yep. And in that recommendation it says we'll receive it. Moved and seconded. Any debate? And the line of credit facility, yep. Any debate? Discussion on that? No. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Item number 6 is the Three Waters Committee. We wish to receive those minutes as well. Councillor Ellis, Councillor McMillan. All those in favour, we receive those minutes, please say aye. Against, carried. And there's a recommendation in there around the funding and construction of the network extension Seafield Road, South Park Road and Keenan's Road is in the recommendation. Looking for a move and a seconder for that.
I'd like to move that.
Councillor Lovett moved, Councillor McMillan seconded. Debate. With there being no debate, I'll put them in motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Item number 7, with the Biodiversity Advisory Group minutes, we'll receive them and we'll also take them as read and confirm them. Should we do that in 2 motions? We can put them into one. We'll take it as one. That we're going to receive those minutes, and also because there's no further Biodiversity Group meeting this term of council, those members won't possibly be here next time. So we'll confirm those minutes now, and prefer someone on the Biodiversity Group to move in second because they were there. Councillor Brum, Councillor Wilson, that we receive and approve those minutes. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. My run sheet says 1:15, but we're 1:05, which is good, making good progress. So we'll move on to now the update from NZTA, second Ashburton Bridge and adjoining road. Welcome, Mark. And understand you have Richard Osborne and Albert Chan with you, but you may like to introduce them more formally, please.
Yes, good afternoon, councillors. Rich Osborne, so System Design Regional Manager for NZTA and the project sponsor for this project. And Albert Chan is Project Manager in Transport Services at NZTA. So some of you will know Albert from previous projects we've had. So I'll hand it over to Rich to go through the presentation.
Great. Just push the right hand side there, Rich. Great. All yours.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Mayor and Councillors, for having us down here. It's good to be giving you an update on this important project. Firstly, I'd like to start off by acknowledging how well Ashburton District Council and NZTA staff are working together on this project, and that we are on track, on program. So that's always a good way to start. I've just got a few slides here to provide you updates on the key issues that we're working through at the moment. This one's about procurement, and where we're at is the way NZTA works. We've appointed what's called a Principal Technical Advisor, that's GHD. They run a design services firm, and they're effectively part of our client team. So they provide us client-side advice on a range of matters associated with geotech, environmental planning, engineering, structural matters, etc., etc. So they're working for both ourselves and yourselves on the client side. We've recently been through a what we call an ECI, or Early Contractor Involvement process, and we're looking to appoint over the next couple of weeks. So it may be the end of this month, or it might be early next month in terms of how we go through the formalities of that. There's a few I's that need to be dotted and T's that need to be crossed, but we are almost there. In terms of the ECI provider, what they will be doing is they'll be involved in refining the details of the design. And part of the benefit of getting that that involvement early on is that we can improve the construction methodology, understand what local opportunities are, and address any issues. So it's really just about bringing the deliverer in early, and rather than us designing it all up and handing it to them, they help with the design process and hopefully find some savings and benefits, and then they're on board in terms of what they have to deliver. And the expectation is that we would award that design and construct contract at the end of the year. So it's essentially what we call an ECI, early contractor involvement, and then we move to what's called a D&C contract by the end of this calendar year. Next one. There are a host of environmental matters that we're working through as a team. Most of these will be known to you. We are making good progress on all these matters at this stage. While the site is designated, so that means it's kind of got an approval from you as the consenting authority in terms of your responsibilities. We still have to go through the regional consents from Environment Canterbury, and one of the issues that we're addressing there is the braided river bird nesting habitat, and black-billed gulls are one of the issues that we need to manage. They have chosen to nest in the area in which the bridge is going to be built, so we are working with Environment Canterbury to enhance their habitat across the wider area, and so they have an area to go when we start the construction. So working closely with Environment Canterbury on that. The other issue that we need is what's called a wildlife permit, and that's something we work with the Department of Conservation on, so DOC. And in terms of that, again, that's something we need to be very mindful of getting right, because there are a significant number of lizards in that area, and that's what we're seeking approval for from the Department of Conservation. That permit was lodged in July, and it includes what's called a lizard management plan, and we're developing that with DOC for their approval. We're looking at potential suitable locations for the relocations of the lizards that are located in the bridge area, and that's something we're coordinating with DOC and agreeing a site and that kind of carry on. So that's progressing well. In terms of archaeological authorities, we've got that applied for and have that granted already, so that's good. And we're looking to lodge the regional resource consents by the end of this month, so not far away now. So a lot of the technical work has been done. We hope to have them in the door by the end of this calendar month. And we need some minor tweaks to the designation from yourselves, and there's also what we call outline plan of works, and that's an obligation from the for us to kind of just go, well, this is what the works will look like within that designated area. So that's probably the easier part of it. We've still got a bit to do in terms of the regional consents, the wildlife permits, but making good progress, so we're happy with where it's at, so that's good. You would have seen and heard about the geotech investigations. We completed about 20 boreholes in and around the Ashburton River earlier on this year. Currently samples have been tested and analysed. We haven't had the results of that testing back as yet, but as far as we understand it, you know, that the ground is behaving as we expected it to, so no surprises thus far, which is good. But that information is core critical for us in terms of informing how we design or finalise the design for the bridge, and in particular the embankments. So that was good to get that underway, and yeah, really important part of the process to get the geotech right for pretty obvious reasons.
Rich, could I just stop you there and go back one slide?
Yes.
Could you talk to the designation
Yep.
alteration? You missed it.
So in terms of the alteration to the designation, I think there's just a few tweaks that we need. I might have to defer to Mark around the details of that. We don't expect that to be problematic, but we're looking to work through exactly what that's going to be with the preferred ECI contractor.
Yeah, one of the sites is at the Graham's Road end, the proposed stormwater treatment, and with the roundabout going in, the alignment of that goes slightly outside the designation, so it'll be extended to land that council already owns on the corner there, so just to cover where the works are. So once the design is completed, we'll know what the extent of that is and do it. So that's one example, and there's another small area further along as well. One of the intersections, I think, just needs a slight change. It'll be extending the designation within land that council already owns, so it's not actually changing everything too much, it's just fitting with the design that's going to be there. But that'll be determined once the design is completed.
So that has to come back to council to put designation, or move change designation?
It will be, because it's the council's designation, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll get a plan of that, of where it goes and what it covers.
Yeah. Thanks, Rich.
So lots to do in the coming months. So the principal technical advisor, we're working through those principal requirements, and that's really around our standards. So we've got a bridge manual, we've got environmental standards. It's just designing up the project in accordance with NZTA standards and with your standards for local roads. We're finalising the property acquisition. I don't think we're too far off in terms of that. We'll be working through the remaining statutory approvals, which I noted in the earlier slide, the regional consents, the wildlife permit, and the tweaks to the designation. And we'll work with the preferred ECI contractor to investigate possible ways to accelerate the work program, such as early enabling works. That might be around your local road network, that sort of thing. And we'll be looking to start actually the construction early 2026. So that's where we're at, and one of the things you need to be aware of is that we have a community information session at about 3 weeks' time, Thursday the 11th of September, and just drop-in sessions for people to come along, and we'll have more information then about who the contractor is, who the designer is, so we'll be able to update the people of your community on what this is going to look and feel like ahead of getting into construction works early 2026. So that's all we have to update you on today. Certainly happy to take questions. Mayor and councillors, thank you.
Thanks very much for your presentation. I've got a couple of questions, then the lights will come on, no doubt. The timeline you mentioned, you're on timeline?
Yep.
The timeline. Where would the public see that timeline?
What I think we're going through the agreement with the preferred contractor at the moment, and once that comes out, I think it would be incumbent upon us to provide further details of what the time frame looks like. We're a little bit hamstrung at the moment until we sign that contract with them. So I think by that time then we would certainly have more information on the time frame I've just discussed with you and further details on what that looks like.
Another question is the nesting season of the gulls. Is it a season or is it all the time?
I don't know the answer to that, Mayor Brown.
It is seasonal, so wherever that is, I think it's coming up soon, I think. So it's to, the work being done is to actually work with, trying to get the gulls nesting where we sort of want to be out of the way of it, but it's not going to change what the program is because we're going to be there for over 2 years, so it's going to affect along the way anyway. So, yeah.
My point is, if they're nesting now and they'll be finished before early 26, and you start your path across the river, they will not nest near where the digger's digging.
Yeah.
They will find somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because they won't have been there to start with.
Yeah.
That's my point. So
yeah.
This is all about being economic with the dollars and prudence with the dollars.
Yeah.
Another question is the lizards and the lizard management plan, and council has done a project before where lizard management plan was required and needed and spent a considerable sum of money to get absolutely nothing done because of the plan. This bridge needs to go where it's going to go. If there's lizards in the way, hopefully they will move out of the way. Hopefully you'll move them, and hopefully none will lose their lives. But what the public would be interested in is the cost of that lizard plan and the associated works around it. I think New Zealand is interested in that because this project is going to happen if there's a lizard there or not. If we can move them cost effectively, fine.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In terms of your earlier question around the nesting dates, Albert tells me it's September to February. So those are the dates that we'll be working to. In terms of the lizard management plan, I don't have any cost on that to hand, but what we're looking at is a site nearby, so any relocation, I wouldn't imagine it would be particularly costly because we're not shifting them a great distance. So we're looking at something which is in pretty close proximity to where they may currently be.
And no doubt the plan will say what sort of lizard, whether it's an abundance of species or it's a rare species, and the appropriate plan will be put in place, no doubt.
Yes, yeah. I would expect so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because
it's going to, the Harris Reserve, the Council's Harris Reserve is the site that's most likely going to be used. So, yeah. In conjunction with the Biodiversity Council. So.
Councillor Lovett.
Just had a couple of questions. I noticed they're clearing a piece just below the bridge, present bridge, where the birds nest most years. And I just want, people have asked me, are we going to raise that a wee bit higher so when we get these floods that it'll stay high so the birds will actually stay there and nest, that they're not flying away and coming back and then have, like they have been the last few years. If they could do the job properly and raise it up from the flooding seem to get when they're nesting, they will stay in that spot and not try to keep annoying everybody. It was just a point that was raised to me by
That is the intention. There's to mount it up, create an island there. They like having water both sides and things like that for the birds where that's where they choose to nest. Having said that, if you get a decent flood through, it doesn't matter how high it's going to be. So, but that is the plan, and trying to mitigate it as much as we can.
And the other question, is it's a farming community, and Graham's Road is used by a lot of big tractors and grain trucks, and the gravel trucks come up there as well. The roundabout, is it going to be a decent size that these trucks can go round and onto the new bridge? We don't want a small one there, which will be all on top of it, and the chaos that will have.
Yep, that is one of the principal's requirements, so those heavy vehicles can negotiate around that roundabout. So.
Thank you. The information session, is that going to be advertised far and wide for the locals so they actually know about it? Have you got any plans in place regarding advertising?
Yep, through council as much as anything else. I'll be working with the comms team here, getting the message out there. So yeah.
And using our comms as well, so yep.
After at the information centre, and people will say what they would like to say and tell you, is it consultation or is it information? Because you're not the design, the road width, etc. is not going to change. The roundabout is not going to change. You're just informing.
Correct.
On what is going to happen. Yeah. So this mindful. It's not consultation. It's information.
Information dissemination.
Yeah.
Yep. Updating your community.
Thank you. Further questions, councillors? Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. There's some more directly affected people by this. With this information session, will you try and make sure those ones definitely know about it, so they're not relying on, just in case they don't have Facebook or something like that? Tends to be how most of the messages go out now. So.
Yes, we will. Thank you.
Councillor Wilson.
So with the program, when will the final price be decided? Because that's pretty important for our district, obviously. When will you have that final number once you've been, you've got to get your contractor and design all that? When will the bill that's going to come be worked out?
Towards the end of this calendar year, as we appoint the D&C contract. So if I go back to, perhaps if I can just go back to, so we're working with a preferred early contractor at the moment. We'll look to swap letters over the next few weeks, but then we need to work on with them and their designer on making sure that that is the right thing for both yourselves and ourselves to build. And as we do that, we will continue to refine the price. And by the end of the year, when the contract's signed, done and dusted, then we will know where the dollars fall.
Thank you. Any further questions, councillors? Mark.
Just to add to that, I think the quantity of work there is probably pretty well known now, but it's the risk that the contractor is taking from the uncertainties from the consents and things like that you want to, over the next 3 months, produce those to come to a confirmed price then. So that's sort of the process, is that the schedule and quantity of work probably isn't going to change that much, but it's just that risk and uncertainty just reduces, which puts less risk on the contractor who's putting the price together. So that's when we'll know what the price is. So.
Councillor Cameron.
Just a quick question with regards to the roading design. Is that all finished now? Completed the roading design and the new road that's been built as part of this?
That's part of the design that's happening now over the next 3 months and confirmed. My view is, though, it's probably not going to change that much because we've said what the minimum requirements are based on what we've already talked about. So that's what the designers have got. Yeah, it's sort of any innovations or their methodology or their phasing of how they do the work will be the biggest thing they're working on, I think. So.
Because we've talked about that and what we think we'd like to see and how to save some money and what's the best approach.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the minimum design? Are they set in law or is that a national guideline, or where is the minimum design?
It's based on what we've put forward to them, so based on what we've already talked about in terms of lane widths and things like that. So,
yeah, we've discussed that.
That's what we've already got in place.
We'd like to see, and that will have flowed on through, and should not have been changed.
Yeah.
No, but we'll get to see that presumably.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, nice. Doesn't look like there's any further questions, Richard Albert. So thanks very much for coming and presenting. It's an exciting project. It has started. It's not starting, well, they might get the first digger into scratch in early or 26, but the project has actually started and is underway, which is exciting for us, Ashburton, even South Island. So keep up the good work, keep moving forward with it. Yeah, we're expecting it to be completed sooner rather than later because we need it.
Yes.
So thanks very much for coming in and sharing that with us.
And thank you very much for having us, and we'll certainly be back to provide you updates as the project progresses. So thanks again.
Right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is item number 8, which is the Water Services Delivery Plan. This has been a long road to get to here, but we're there. This plan has to be lodged by September the 7th, I think, so we're still... September the 9th, 3rd. And we, well, once we've done this today, then it can be lodged if there's no major changes to it. So, Tony, I'll hand over to you, and anything further to add?
Thank you. Yes, just a couple of things further to add. You'll find on your desk a 2-page document. This is an amendment that we're suggesting needs to be made to the draft Water Services Delivery Plan, and the yellow highlighting text is the updates that we'd like to include into our plan, just for the fullness of clarity to the DIA about how we undertake the project design in the water services area. So we outsource this currently. We've just made that explicitly clear in the plan if you're willing to accept that. And the other point I just wanted to make today, I know we had many conversations about the Water Service Delivery Plan, just to highlight to you the bill that is working its way through Parliament at the moment. Because we've chosen a standalone business unit, we are going to be required to repeat this process every 5 years to ensure that we can demonstrate financial sustainability to both our community and to government. But happy to take questions.
Questions, councillors? Councillor Mackle.
Tony, the cost of doing that every 5 years would be?
It's met within existing budgets. Typically when we talk about consultation, we tend to say it's around the $20,000 to $25,000 mark, especially the type consultation that we did for this. We wanted to make sure we went as far and wide in the community as we could, so, and as well as the officer time that's associated with it.
So with the information, would that be sort of a cut and paste scenario for 20,000?
We'd like to think so. However, the legislation as it's currently drafted means that we have to. We were able to do this consultation using 2 scenarios with our community, 2 options, but the current drafting is signalling 3, so it'll be a bit more modelling in the background.
Thank you. Councillor Cameron?
Thank you. Just to your amendment, Tony, with regards to, through the chair, the day-to-day operations of water services will be outsourced, as they currently are. Who, like the standalone business unit, then gives oversight to that, or the terms of engagement, or how are they insured and managed, and how is that dealt with in the with that unit, please?
Yeah, so through the chair, the standalone business unit is inside council.
That's right.
So council is letting the operation and maintenance contract. Council is procuring design services, but they're external to our own resources. That's what we mean.
Yeah, I understand
by these
that.
arrangements. Yeah.
I'm just thinking of like liability, and that would be still up through council because we'd employ them and give them the terms of engagement.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The business unit is inside council. So everything that the business unit does is ultimately comes back to the council. For those councils who formed a separate business unit or formed a joint company with somebody else, then they were putting water services outside council. The business unit is still council.
Yeah, yes, I understand that. My question was really related to introducing an somebody external to work on behalf of council, and their skill or otherwise would reflect badly or well on council depending on how that went. And do we have to take extra precaution around that, I suppose?
It's exactly what we do now, though. So yes, poor work from a contractor does reflect on council, but we're very familiar with contracting services on a whole host of different activities that to get work done outside of our council staff resources.
Councillor McMillan.
Thank you, through the chair. On page 19, you've got the DIA assessing the plans and giving us the thumbs up or the thumbs down. But is there a timeline for that? Like, are we expecting that before the end of this year, or is it, have they sort of come back with a time on that?
As we understand it, the DIA is saying that we'll know by Christmas, whether it's a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or we need to do a little bit more work with them.
Christmas this year.
Yeah, sorry, Christmas 25.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. The 5-year thing sort of makes sense to me because it's good to overview what you're doing. But at the same time, if we found water then was getting far too expensive for our ratepayers, would that be the time then that we could say, well, look, we need to actually change our model and do something different because we're finding this is unaffordable to our community?
Potentially, but there's no suggestion that necessarily a different solution will make the water cheaper. But if council became concerned at the affordability, then that could be a reason to examine other arrangements. But there's no guarantee that those other arrangements will make water cheaper.
Councillor Wilson.
Page 35, the establishment of new water services government arrangements for the 25-28 council term following the 25 local government elections. Can you confirm that that'll be done by the end of the year? Because obviously the governance of the water entities is the number one thing that's caused this to happen. So we can't let it drag on, sort of.
Yes, as soon as we need two key things to happen. Firstly, we need a council to form post the election, and we need to have the answer from the DIA/government as to having accepted our water services delivery plan. When those two things happen, then we will move to make recommendations to the new council very, very quickly as to a process to establish the governance arrangements for the business unit.
Councillor Hooper.
Thank you. Tony, the 4 new positions on your handout in the assets management team, are they soaked up by the development manager, development engineer, compliance, etc., or are they sort of on top of those titles you've listed there?
Through the chair, there are additional roles to the current roles we have.
And is there any chance that we could seek project design skills in any of those 4 new positions, and therefore not have to involve external consultants?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, should we in the future wish to establish our own design capability, that would be on top of those 4 positions. So we think at the moment that it's likely that we'll need those 4. Those 4, the business cases for those 4 roles will come before you for approval. What we're trying to signal in the water services delivery plan is that we can see now that we think they will be highly likely to be necessary, but we've got our own process for establishing new roles, and that involves council sign-off. But those roles are not contemplating design skills. They are things like stormwater engineers and data analysts and information gathering and reporting and all those things that are requirements increasing through the legislative change that the reform is based on. So they do not include design capability.
It's probably a good heads up for those listening at home as to rising costs when there are 4 new positions plus external consultants. So.
Councillor Wilson.
This process is showing us that we have to spend some more money in different areas. That's one of the things that's come out, comparing it to a long-term plan. How do you, just for interest, how do we meld the two together? Because a long-term plan has expenditure of such, and this has expenditure which is quite different or greater.
Thank you, through the chair. So next year, through the annual plan, which is for to give effect to year 3 of the LTP, we'll need to make sure that it is reflecting the direction the water service delivery plan is giving us. After that, we need to produce a water services strategy, which will work in the same way, it's like a little mini LTP built specifically for water services, and that will then need to connect directly into our next long-term plan to make sure that it's reflecting the costs and the projects and the activities that are required. So there's a little bit of work to go on in the next 18 months to make sure all the dots connect really well, but the annual plan for 26-27 is we will give effect to the first of these changes.
At our last workshop, when we were developing this plan, we talked about the asset management plans feed in all the way through. We were going to get a copy of the asset management plans. We still have not received them.
Thank you. I'll follow that up.
Thank you. No further questions. There's a recommendation there. There's an A and a B, and that council notes that the Chief Executive agrees to certification of the Water Services Delivery Plan and adopts the attached Water Services Delivery Plan for submission to the Secretary for Local Government. Is there a mover and a seconder? Councillor Todd moved. Councillor Brum seconded. Councillor Todd, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Definitely speak in favour. Local water done well gives local ownership and control over our water infrastructure and accountability, which is something that the proposed Three Waters idea from the previous government failed to do. So that's giving us control of where we believe water should be going, so definitely in favour.
Further speakers for or against? Councillor Wilson.
I speak in favour of it, and I'm very pleased to see through it. We talk about improved governance because some of the reasons for this, why it's had to come about, is because potentially the public and even the government's view that our management in the past hasn't been up to scratch, which I'm not saying that's true at all, but I think we have to take that view seriously, and when we go forward, we've got it in here, we have to up our game on governance and really be, because otherwise if we're not, this won't be the end of this place, because we've chosen standalones. That means we have to turn up to and actually govern it better than we have before.
Councillor Lovett.
I agree with the speakers, and I'm in favour of it, and I think it's been great to understand our water services and what we're delivering, or going to deliver, and what we actually have and done. It's been a great report here, and it's taken a lot of staff time, and I thank them for doing all this work. It's much appreciated.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. I also speak in favour, but having said that, we sort of have no choice. This is forced upon us. We have a deadline of September the 3rd we have to meet. The thing that probably disappoints me the most is the final cost, the end user for the water supply. I know everyone wants good, safe drinking water, but it also has to be affordable, and I'm just not sure long term this plan is going to achieve that outcome.
I also speak in favour of the motion. The government's intention was never for water to be cheaper, it was to be safer. And working through the process, that's what we're going to have, is safer water. We've spent a lot of money on our waters in Ashburton already, and we're going to have to spend more. So cheaper? No, it's not. Will it be better? Yes, it will. Obviously, as Councillor Wilson said, it needs good governance over it as well. It's had good governance. It has to have better governance over it. So that will be developing as well. The governance is important. So I support the motion. Any further speakers for or against? I'm going to put the motion. Right of reply first, Councillor Todd, if you wish.
No, quite happy.
I'm going to put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Thanks to all who are involved in putting this together too. It's a big piece of work, so well done. Thank you. Item number 9, grant of easements, Bridge Street, on reserve, Ashburton. Bridge Street, Ashburton. Welcome, Jackie, Tuia. Any further to add?
No, thank you.
Questions, councillors? Councillor Wilson.
Can you confirm with me, so the existing users of this easement, the ones that go into those existing houses, they haven't been consulted, is that correct?
So there was a resource consent granted, and it was granted non-notified. So.
Councillor Lovett?
The orange space on page 104, that laneway, that's got houses already leading onto it. Has it got no name? And I'm wondering if it hasn't, should it? Because we seem to be getting lots of these laneways in town, and I'm thinking more emergency services and things, they're going to get hard to find whether it should be named, if that's the right away, the orange strip.
So at the moment it's local purpose reserve, so it's not a vested road. So my understanding is we'd only name actual vested legal roads. So all those houses that access up it have an address that's a Bridge Street address. So
Further questions, councillors? No. For the recommendation, thanks you ladies. There's a recommendation there. 1, 2, 3 and 4, take them all as one. Someone like to move and second? Councillor Lovett moved.
I'll move.
Looking for a second, Councillor Hooper. Open for discussion. Being none, I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Next item, number 10, road closure, Ashburton Car Club, gravel, bent, sprint. Anything further to add, Mark?
Only that no objections have been received, so just an update on that.
This is an annual one, isn't it? The same piece of road.
Yep.
And generally runs very well for those involved. Questions, councillors? Being none, second mover.
Just a quick question.
Councillor Cameron.
We have a lot of these road closures. How many street races are there in the Ashburton district over the year? Do you know? About it?
There's half a dozen that happen regularly every
that's
year.
all.
So
Okay.
yeah.
I'll move it if you're still looking at it.
Councillor Cameron moved, Councillor Ellis seconded. Thanks, mate. No, any speakers for or against? So put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Next item is number 11, the financial variation report. Welcome, Erin. Nothing to highlight?
No, not at this stage, thank you.
So this is the June 30th period, which won't be finalised, it hasn't been finalised because the annual report will finalise it, so it's still in draft form, but reasonably accurate.
There will be a few more entries to put into the annual report. It's quite a decent task to get it ready for audit, so that's still carrying on at the moment.
Thank you. I'll start with page 129. I'm on paper, so page 129 is page 3 of the document, if that lines up with yours. 130, 131. One 32, 33. 134, 35. Just on 135 under drinking water operating expenditure, on the last page, this change was due to some unanticipated job costing corrections carried out in June, together with a much larger expected June claim for maintenance. What does that actually mean?
So there was some work done on a job that didn't appear to be billing where we would anticipate it to be. So there was a whole lot of unravelling to do to find where this job should have been going to. It was called a cascade job. And for some reason the system wasn't cascading it correctly, so we needed to unpick it and then put it where it was meant to be going.
So why does it wait till now to be unpicked? Why wasn't it picked up earlier?
We have been looking into it for some time, and it was quite a large task to unravel this entry because there were many parts to it. So
Your Worship, the costs were actually recorded as expenditure overall. It's just they were spread across several different activities, so they weren't showing up in water, and the same also in the wastewater activity. There was actually quite a chunk of the costs that were shown through in the transport activity, and I think because of the way that that activity is funded and displayed on the reporting, it wasn't immediately obvious where those costs were.
Yeah, and as you note, it's also in wastewater, the same comment. Can the council be assured that it's been corrected? The issue, if it's an issue, has been corrected?
And we have a workaround at the moment, but are going to get some help to unravel why this job isn't billing as we would anticipate.
Thank you. So that takes up to 136.37. 138.39. 140, 141. 142, 43. 144, 45. 146, 47. 140, Councillor Wilson.
Under refuse management on 146, can you just explain to us the 626 transport and disposal of hazardous material, because that's obviously, that's a very large amount of money in that area.
Yeah, through the chair. That was just a cost that came through then. The transport of hazardous materials is sort of kept for a few months and then done it's not done every month. So it just came in at that amount, and it was it's slightly more than what we had expected.
So does that, for the year, will that mean that that's out unfavourable by that amount, will it?
It's when we've looked at the budgets going, and estimated the budgets, we take an approximate. We look at the previous years for various costs, and that was one that exceeded previous costs. So we had quite a bigger chunk of hazardous wastes come through this year.
What's an example of hazardous waste?
Chemicals, various, I'm not sure if gases and exit. I'll have to find out exactly what it is.
That's okay, thanks. Councillor Ellis?
Isn't it user pays?
Yes.
I'm sure there's
somewhere.
There'll be an entry on the other side, I assume. Well, probably a question for Erin, really.
There are charges, but I don't believe that was anticipated to be quite such a large expense come through.
Look, I can get more information on that, exactly what that was.
So I suppose the question is, are you collecting enough to dispose of the hazardous material and the fees and charges? That's probably the question.
Something we need to look at, yes.
Yeah. Yep. Councillor Cameron. 148, 49. $150,
Mr. Mayor, come on.
Oh,
I was just wondering, was there a delay in the mini golf project, and how's all that going now, and will it still be to budget?
Sarah.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. There was, we always believed it was the calendar year to have a mini golf course that opened at the end of the financial year would have been winter. And the construction, the planning got confirmed in the budget got confirmed in December based on the plans. So then we had to do the rest of the planning. So the construction had to fall into the final part of this calendar year, i.e. the next financial year. It is on budget in terms of tracking to date. We've started the civil works, which is really fantastic, and we're expecting that it will be concluded before Christmas. That's the plan of attack at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely well underway. The work has started, so get the dust off your putter and polish your balls, because it'll be ready to go at the end of the year. The next page. 152, 53. One 54, 55.
Oh, 52,
Councillor
Mr.
Wilson.
Mayor. Elderly person housing, with refurbishments, do they, if refurbishments happen when perhaps tenants move out or there's changes, I think that's how it works, isn't it? So if someone does move out, do we by just carrying them forward, wouldn't we have a certain amount of budget each year? So if someone hasn't moved out the year, the next year you've actually got budget still. Do we just keep, why do we look to roll it forward? Why don't we have like a budget each year? Because we're only going to do so much each year.
We do have budget each year, but currently there's only enough to do 5 properties each year. We are falling behind, and that allowance for 5 each year doesn't take into account the maintenance that not maintenance, but the renewals that we have to do on a regular basis as well. We do, for example, have one property where the tenant's been there for 30 years, so that property hasn't been renewed, essentially a thorough renewal in that period of time. So we are well behind with our renewals. We wouldn't spend that renewal funding if people didn't move out. But if we have more than those 5 move out during the year, we would certainly like the opportunity to do those renewals and therefore have that funding available. And we're also doing the piece of work around the EPH that will be coming to you in September, that will start to have a look at those financials and the renewal program and the extent of work that is actually required in that portfolio there, just to give you more awareness of what work is there.
I've got a question on the same page, 152. So memorial halls and reserve boards, there's been an increased income. Is that sort of across all of them? Or is it just sort of one particular? I'm hoping that the Mountain Hutt Memorial Hall was having increased income, but...
Thank you, through the chair. Predominantly is sitting with the Mount Hutt Memorial Hall. They've had a good year, but also we are seeing a lift in the income for the Timward Hall and the Rakai Hall also. So they've had a good steady year, which is great.
And same with the reserve boards as well?
Yes, it is. They were quite successful in their grant applications this year, which is unexpected income.
Great, thank you. And just another question, under that commentary under reserves and camping grounds, is that the correct place for that sentence?
What's the commentary?
There's one, reimbursement of the waste minimisation levy.
Yes, we have looked into that, and what it is reserves that may have rubble or something that has to be taken away. So that's related to that waste space.
Thank you.
Page 156, 57, parks and open spaces. One 58, 59.
Oh, under Parks and Rec, sorry. The significant high, have 407,000 unfavourable variance. I understand higher insurance, I understand electricity, but I don't understand why we'd have higher interest costs, because they would be sort of budgeted. They've actually gone down, not upwards. The other two, yes, I can totally understand why they've gone up, but I'm unsure why interest costs have gone up.
What page are we on again?
The interest budget overall the variance is favourable, about $600,000 or $700,000. There are some anomalies across the budget. So in terms of where we budgeted interest rates to be at 4.3, that's where it has landed for our cost of capital through the year, our cost of funding. But some of where that funding has gone to is different to where the budgets were prepared. So we've actually seen that in the wastewater activity too. The cost of interest is over what was budgeted. It'll be the case here too. I'm currently looking at a piece of work just to find out what is the driver behind that. Is it increased borrowing, or is it just that the budgets weren't set right in the first place?
Yeah, increased borrowing would need to be looked at as a contributor. Councillor Hooper.
Thank you. Regarding the higher electricity, do we have like a council electricity plan the whole lot, or is open spaces and Te Whare Whakatiri have separate accounts, and are they regularly powerswitch.co.nz or whatever, are they sort of checked up on regularly?
And through Mr. Mayor, Neil McCann might be able to answer in more detail, but we did do a piece of work with external help around our access to electricity and the particular plans that we were on, and we believe that all of our suppliers now got a competitive tariff. But Neil might have a deeper explanation.
Yeah, we do have a contract with Meridian, and we've got very good rates, very competitive with anywhere else. We're very fortunate to have those rates. What we do have is we have access to software called eBench, which tracks our monthly consumption and identifies if there's anything that stands out. Also, it double checks all the invoices that we get, making sure that there's no errors in invoices and readings, and it flags it to us so we can monitor that.
Thank you.
Councillor Ellis?
Thank you. Parks and Recreation, the reserve contributions, do they automatically just fall into Parks and Reserves budget? Even, if we've had a year where we've got more than expected, and then they spend that as they see fit, is that?
Not as they see fit, but as you allocate through the budget process. But we have to hold them somewhere. Yes.
Through the chair, they get moved to a reserve at the end of the year as part of the process. So they're not just there to spend unless it's been approved through the annual plan or the LTP.
Page 158, 59. 160, 161. 162, 63. 164, 65. 166, 67. 168, 69. 170, 171. 172, 73. The last page, 174. Councillor Todd.
Thank you. I just waited to the end. I noticed in 3 or 4 of the financial reports variances because of staff vacancies, and it's probably really Hamish to answer. I'm just wondering how many staff vacancies do we have, and whether it's, if we have a lot, is it inhibiting on what we are processing, and or are we missing out on some areas?
Through the chair, I don't know the exact number as at the time of this report, but yes, we do carry vacancies almost permanently. And if you recall, we've recognised that through our budgeting process now by establishing the cost of our full staff complement, but budgeting for a slightly lower number because we tend to have vacancies permanently to one degree or another all the time. And yes, it does hold up progress of work. And so we work really hard at having a place where people want to work and contribute and stay and have their employment needs met. But inevitably, people leave from time to time, and they take time to replace. So yes, we do have a number of vacancies. One of the things we are pleased with, and I haven't got the exact numbers in front of me. In fact, I think you're going to get it in the annual People and Capability update very shortly. But we have seen our retention rates increase over the last few years. And I remember the immediate post-COVID era, where the economy was booming and people had a lot of choices, that retention was quite difficult because people had options to bounce around in the tougher times and the ongoing work that we undertake in relation to our culture and employment we have seen some really pleasing increases in retention over the last 12 to 18 months.
Are we having difficulty attracting people to Ashburton, or are there reasons for that?
We have had some wonderful interest in some recent positions, and I know a role that Helen was recruiting for saw a huge level of interest, where in the past, maybe 5 years ago, we didn't get quite that amount. And we do love it when our people move to Ashburton, as opposed to commuting from elsewhere in the Canterbury region, because that tends to become less popular, or people don't enjoy it as much years down the track. But we have seen people shift in. We have seen people establish themselves in Ashburton of late, and that's a very encouraging trend.
Yeah, I just see, like, with some councils restructuring, I thought we might get more interest with people looking around.
Yes, and it comes and goes, and I think there's always something in the market that's happening somewhere else that we potentially benefit from or sometimes suffer from. So it's just life in a market like labour. Yeah.
Councillor Wilson.
Just on page number 171, with respect to external borrowing, and most of them make perfect sense, but just the parks one, can you expand what parks, 5.8 million, would that be bearing square, what would be that borrowing be attributed to, which parks?
I don't have that information at the top of my head at the moment, so we can get back to you on that one.
Whilst you're finding that, Councillor Lovett.
I was just going to ask, there is a few requests for carryovers. I guess that's for work we haven't completed or not done. How are we trending compared to other years and in the past? Because we were trying to keep it down and be able to do work that we knew we could do.
Yes, such a good question. So we're very conscious of minimising carryovers to the greatest extent possible, while continuing to give effect to the work program that you have already approved. So the exec team has started to have some conversations about the likely level of carryovers coming to you, I think, the 3rd or the 17th of September. 17th. Thanks, Helen. So you'll see that, and council will get to approve them or otherwise in the very short order. In terms of capital, there's known carryovers for the likes of the completion of the UV plants and some other work, and we try and minimise the operational requests for carryovers to an absolute minimum. But we are aware there is a couple of really good cases that you should at least consider and resolve as part of that carryover request. But it's coming to you very shortly.
The answer to Erin, to whose question was it?
It's going to take a bit more time than I have here to do that, so I need to go back and look back through the various years of lending or assets.
Okay, so we'll make a note of that we'll get an email on the answer to Councillor Wilson's question. Thank you. That's the end of the financial report. Thank you, ladies. I'll move that we receive the preliminary 30 June 25 financial variance report. We have a seconder. Councillor Ellis. All in favour, please say aye. Carried. Thank you. We're just about to get on to the presentation from our Tuia rep, Tayla Argyle. Welcome. And you're going to talk to us about your experience as being a Tuia rep and presentation for us, Tayla, and then the councillors might ask of a few questions. So Councillor McMillan will sit with you and guide the PowerPoint if required, but welcome Tayla, it's good to see you again, and tell us about your experience so far. The floor is yours. Thank you. Don't be nervous.
There we go.
Thank you. Kia ora koutou katoa, ko Tayla tuku ingoa, ko Argyle tuku whānau, no Hakatiri aho. Hello everybody, my name is Tayla Argyle. I was born and raised in Hakatiri, Ashburton. Earlier this year I was chosen as, sorry I'm so nervous, as our district's Tuia representative for 2025. To be considered as a candidate for the Tuia program, you must be of Māori descent and be aged between 18 to 25 years. I'm 23 years old. My whānau and I whakapapa to Ngāti Kahununu. My mum relocated from Napier Hastings area as a teenager with my nini and papa. I was nominated for this by Sharon Watson from Mayor's Task Force for Jobs. Then I was interviewed by Mayor Neil Brown and Deputy Mayor Liz McMillan, and a few weeks passed and I was notified of my success. This was a huge honour to me. So far this year I have attended 3 wānanga across Aotearoa. All wānangas follow the same kaupapa, which is principle or policy. Tuia translated to English means to weave. Each wānanga has its own individual purpose or theme. The first was Tuia e runga, to weave above, connecting and understanding those who are coming after us and paving the way for them, leading by example. This wānanga was held in Hamilton at the Pohara Marae. Prior to arriving, I hadn't met any of the other Tuia reps from around the country. I was very nervous and didn't know what to expect. At Pohara Marae we all met, were welcomed onto the land with a pōwhiri and then set up our mattresses to sleep and introduced ourselves to each other. This happens at every wānanga. The pōwhiri is a way to be formally welcomed and accepted onto the land. After settling in, we all had a chance to individually speak to the group. This has been an ongoing theme and has pushed me out of my comfort zone and encouraged growth around my self-confidence. One of the mātua of Pohara Marae, and also a founder of the Tuia program 15 years ago, shared an interesting kōrero about a study where they had put fleas into a container without a lid. The fleas jumped nice and high above the top of the container into the free space. After some time they placed a clear lid on top of the container and the fleas' movement was limited for obvious reasons. When the clear lid was removed, the fleas didn't go back to the way they were before. They actually didn't jump any higher than where the lid had been placed. This was used as a metaphor for rangatahi Māori and the stereotypes in our society. This kōrero helped me to open my mind, encouraged me to believe in myself and go for anything I desired, because the world doesn't get to decide who I am and what I'm capable of, I do. The first wānanga single-handedly helped me to understand my strengths, weaknesses, and inspired me to take a chance to restart my security career as a healthcare officer at the Christchurch Public Hospital. I've been training to be the 2IC of my team, and alongside my team leader coordinate a team of healthcare officers. The second wānanga was held at Tāhiki Marae in Rotorua, Tuia e Raro, to weave below. This wānanga focused on our tipuna, their beliefs and way of life. The Tuia coordinators created a system where they had 5 activity groups sorted by elements. We got to select which element we resonated with and got to learn and experience things relevant to it. I was sorted into the Wairoa or Spirit group. The photo in the middle is my Wairoa group. We had a woman come into our group and teach us a traditional and sacred form of massaging called miri miri. Māori believe with intention, karakia and often practice, miri miri supports spiritual cleansing and spiritual and emotional healing. When reunited as a full group after our individual experiences, we got taught about how important it is to look after Papatūānuku, more commonly known as our planet. We learned how everyday things like plastic, aluminium and glass are made and disposed of, and why it's important that we appreciate our materialistic things and be mindful about recycling. Since this wānanga, I have made conscious efforts to better limit my household waste and to contribute positively to our earth by correctly recycling and opting for reusable options. I left that wānanga with deeper understanding and respect for my tupuna, the knowledge passed down by those before us, and has given me ideas on what I can do for those who will follow after me. The most recent wānanga held at Waikawa Marae in Picton was the most influential and made the biggest impact on my life to date. In the 2-month gap between the second and third wānanga, we were given resources to gain understanding of our truest selves. Tuia e roto, to weave within. In preparation for this, I dove deep into understanding myself, how I became who I am, and what steps I need to take to get to where I want to be. They suggested a lot of different resources, including personality tests and comparing our already existing skills, what we enjoy and what the world needs. Each Tuia representative from each district was encouraged to do research and create a 10 to 15 minute presentation. I created a slideshow and wrote a speech and presented it in front of the group. After doing this, I felt deeply connected to my peers and felt we had built a deep level of trust between us. I also decided that with my skill set, personality and life experience, I would be a great teacher. I have set goals around this and intend for it to be rolled out within the next 5 years. Being a part of the Tuia whānau has done wonders for myself, and even the people around me, like whānau and friends, have noticed a positive change. It has given me a space to express myself freely, to find people who are like me, to not be ashamed to be Māori, which as a child I found quite easy to do, considering how many negative stereotypes were placed onto me as a child. I believe society is slowly getting better with this, and organisations like Tuia truly do benefit us. Although my journey with Tuia will inevitably come to an end, I could have never done any of it without Tuia and the Ashburton District Council support. Time and effort, and for that I am truly grateful. Tuia is more than just a leadership program. It has been a journey of identity, connection and purpose. I will carry with me the kōrero, the connections and the kaupapa. This experience has shaped me, and I am proud to have been part of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Leadership isn't held in the position you hold, but you as a person. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to this kōrero, as this is something I hold close to my heart. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Liz.
Yeah, I was just going to add something. So you can see, well, I can see how much Tayla has grown as a person since we first met with her, I think, February this year. And that's just 3 wānanga down, so there's 2 more. So one coming up in September and then the last one for the year in November. But as well as going to the wānanga, the Mayor and I meet with Tayla once a month or whenever we can, just to sort of chat about different things, and that's a really good way for us to connect as well. Tayla was also invited to speak at the NZTA service at Hakatiri Marae, and she did a great job with that. So yeah, it's so pleasing to see how far you've come, and well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, before I go to questions, I'd also say well done, Tayla. You're your example of a role model for Māori youth is very high, and they should look upon that as a role model that you're demonstrating. You're also doing very well in your career, and we've been following that path with you as well. And that started with me as Task Force for Jobs and has just blossomed for you, really. And it's pleasing for us to see the development you've done over the last probably 7, 8 months. It's for Liz and myself, it's very, very pleasing to see your progress. It's excellent. So well done. Councillors, I'll go for questions if you have any. Councillor Todd.
Thank you. Well done, Taylor. I picked up that you your desire is to be a teacher. Is that primary or secondary or early childhood, or where do you think you'll target your that expertise?
I was thinking maybe older primary, not so much younger, like children, like 5 to 7, more years 3 to 6. I feel like I'd be better with, just because I have a bit more experience in my own life with kids that age. because I've got a younger brother, and so that was stressful, but in the best way. No, so yeah, I think I would do best in an environment with children around that age.
Further questions, councillors? No, very good explanation, presentation, Taylor. Well done. We've got a bit early for afternoon tea. We've got the new start. We have great. We're going to have some new starts and long serving. Take about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then if you'd like to wait and have a cup of tea with us and have another chat then. So
Awesome.
if you could
Thank
do that,
you.
that'll be great.
Thank you.
Welcome, Katie. The floor is yours.
Look at us, early.
Go up.
Right. This afternoon, I am very pleased to be able to introduce two new employees starting at Ashburton District Council. First of all, we have Richard Ward. Stand up, Richard. Richard has joined the property team as a property maintenance officer. We also have Gordon Crickshank. Gordon has joined the finance team in the role of financial performance manager. For service recognition today, we have the lovely Anne Smith celebrating 10 years service with ADC. You can stand up, Anne, and head up the front. You get to be on right up the front. As the Community Liaison Officer for Council, Anne is the welcoming face of ADC for our reserve and hall boards across the district, and she plays a key role in helping our wonderful volunteers navigate the council system. Her calm, capable and approachable manner is truly appreciated by everyone she works with. In addition to this, Anne manages the administration of council grants, including the full range of council funding, the Creative Community Scheme and the Sport New Zealand Rural Travel Fund. This is no small task. From receiving applications supporting council's decision-making to ensuring successful applicants are paid and accountability is completed, Anne handles it all with dedication and care. She is hard-working and a highly valued member of the Democracy and Engagement Group. She brings a fabulous sense of humour to the team and is a kind, thoughtful colleague to everyone around her. Congratulations, Anne. It's wonderful to celebrate this special milestone with you, and we all look forward to many more years of working together.
Thank you, Katie. All completed. Thank you. And well done, Anne, for long service and the new starts. Well done. Welcome. May your time here be long and profitable and productive. Yes, thank you very much for that. We are well ahead of time, but I think we're going to break now for a cup of tea so we can chat with our new staff and our Tuia rep. So I'll just move into committee first, and then we'll go for a break for a cup of tea. Move whether we move into public excluded. Councillor Hooper, Councillor Million, all in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. We'll break now for a cup of tea. Thank you.